Fox 55 Sports. This is The Locker Room.
Hey, welcome back inside the locker room alongside Dan Vance, who's now joined me at the desk. My name is Peter Hood. So the regular season for girls basketball is now behind us. We can turn the page now, Dan, to the postseason. Yeah. By the way, Dan covers prep basketball. You've seen his face on here plenty of times before. Anytime we have a postseason breakdown that's needed, Dan is right here, and that's exactly what we've called him here for today. And we're going to go through it starting in 1A, class by class, and some of these we're going to go through pretty rapidly. And Dan will begin in 1A, sectional 52 Fremont. I'm going to flash the bracket on the screen now. Dan, Lakewood Park is the defending sectional champs. Fremont's had a pretty good year, as has Lakeland Christian and Bethany Christian. Who wins this sectional and why, in your opinion?
I'm going to go ahead and take Blackhawk Christian to win the sectional. I think they're playing good basketball right now. Just beat Lakewood Park. Haley Klein's playing really good for them. It's a sectional where there's a lot of teams with okay records. Many of them have not played IHSA caliber opponents all year. They've been playing teams that are not IHSA sanctioned. So those records are a little false, but I think Blackhawk Christian's playing good basketball. A year ago at this time, it was a guaranteed loss most of the time when you saw a Blackhawk Christian game. They're playing good basketball under first-year head coach Steph Gonga, where they're comfortable with each other, and I think they take that one.
All right, move on to 2A, and of course, we all know how good Central Noble has been for the last couple of years. Defending two-time defending sectional champs, looking to make it three-time this year. Of course, last year they went on to win the 2A state championship. So I guess, Dan, my question with this sectional is, Bremen's 15-6, Westview is 12-8. There's some teams in this sectional that have had a decent season. Do you see anyone in this grouping that could possibly trip Central Noble up before regionals?
Bremen's going to be a fun matchup if that happens. They played earlier this year. It was a close game. I don't think anybody gets Central Noble here. The thing about them a year ago was they had no depth. If you could stop Sydney Freeman and Malia Leatherman, you could stop Central Noble. Now, that was practically impossible, but that's no longer the case. Bridget Gray's playing great. Lydia Andrews is playing great. Sam Brumbaugh's playing great. So they have this depth on this team where they can go 6, 7 girls deep. They can all score. They didn't have that a year ago. I think it's going to be tough for anyone to beat Central Noble. They're unbeaten for a reason.
Staying in 2A, move down to Bluffton, sectional 36. This one's wide open, just like it was last year. The Tigers are the defending sectional champs. They're 10-10 on the year. 3-0 versus sectional opponents, though. That's Adams Central, South Adams, and Churubusco. Do you like the Tigers to come away with a second straight sectional championship, or is there someone else you like in this group?
I really do. I think that they've also kind of diversified their scoring from last year. Emmy Boots is a sophomore, is playing great basketball. Olivia King has really established herself as a second main scorer for them. And then you have Grace Miller as a third main scorer. And that's what you really need for postseason success in these tournaments, is to have 3 different scorers that can contribute on a nightly basis, especially when you're playing 2 or 3 games in a week.
All right, we're going to jet back up to Noble County now and move up to 3A. This is sectional 21. Again, several teams with winning records in this one. Wawasee Lakeland will face off in the first round. On the other side of the bracket, it's West Noble versus Fairfield. The Falcons are the defending sectional champs, although they've had a tough year. And then Tippecanoe Valley and Northwood draw the byes. Dan, who do you like in sectional 21?
That's a tough one. I think West Noble and Lakeland are the favorites. They've played each other, obviously, in the NECC this year. West Noble, to me, is standing out right now because it's the home court advantage. Lakeland is a very good team. Bailey Hartsaw is one of the best pure scorers in this area. Doesn't get mentioned a lot because Lakeland's kind of an outlier. But with West Noble being at home, they do too many good things, and that home court advantage is great. If you've ever been out to West Noble, they draw a really good crowd for girls basketball. They're going to draw a good crowd for this sectional, and home court advantage will help.
And an experienced team, too. I think 6 or 7 seniors on that roster. Move back down to Fort Wayne in the Summit City now. Fort Wayne, Concordia, the host of sectional 22. And this one looks wide open to me as well, although, you know, I say that. Concordia has won 4 straight sectional championships, so obviously they're going to be the favorite. They're 4-0 versus sectional opponents this year, ranked 14th in the state. Tough matchup, though, with Dwenger right off the bat. That one won't come easy. Down in the bottom half of the bracket, Angola's ranked top 15 in the state. They're 17-6 on the year. But their one loss against a sectional opponent this year came to Leo, and they draw Leo in the first round. So I guess what do you see when you look at this bracket, Dan?
Well, I think Leo's kind of been playing troublemaker all year. They beat Angola. They just gave Bishop Dwenger a really good game. So I think this is one that's ripe for upsets. Like you said, Concordia's sectional to lose Obviously, Carissa Garcia can score in bunches when she does. The question is, what do they do when teams hold her down? There's been teams that have been able to throw good defenses at her this year that have limited her opportunities. What does Concordia do in that situation? Nautica Rogers has played great inside for them, so I think they're going to really need to establish the post. Throughout this, if you see Concordia Angola, it makes it more difficult because Angola is so frustrating defensively. Do a really good job getting the passing lanes, and Concordia's not going to be able to get the job done getting the ball to Rogers as easily.
So who do you like? You like Concordia?
I'm going to take Concordia.
All right, so we move to probably the toughest sectional in the state. You gave a factor figure earlier. What was that in the newsroom?
It is the toughest sectional when you look at the winning percentage, combined winning percentage of all the teams in the entire state of the 64 sectionals.
And, of course, the sectional we're talking about is Sectional 23 in Class 3A. It will be taking place at Norwell. Two top 5 teams, and they'll face off, I know, much to your dislike in the first round. Number 5, Norwell. Number 3, Belmont. Marion, they're the defending sectional champs. They're ranked number 11 in the state, and I guess you could say that they got a good draw compared to what Norwell and Belmont got, but they got to play Bishop Luers, who's obviously a very good team in the first round. All 7 teams in this sectional have winning records. I guess we'll start at the top with Norwell and Belmont. These two teams played back on January 14th, a 50-42 Belmont win. What are you expecting to see in the rematch second time around?
I think we're going to see the same thing we saw the first time. It's going to be aggressive. It's going to be an up-tempo game, and who can kind of control that aggression is who's going to win. That's what happened the first time. Belmont was able to control that aggression. Norwell's going to have to get Belmont out of that rhythm in that game. They did it a little bit the first time, got Kinsey McMahon into some foul trouble. That's what their goal is going to have to be, control the aggression. Difference in this one, it's going to be played at Norwell.
Yeah.
It's not going to be played at Belmont. That's a huge difference maker.
On the bottom half of the bracket, which of those 4 teams do you see advancing on to play in the championship?
I think Marion has that championship pedigree that's going to help them a lot. Rashea Kyle is very, very good. She is a tough matchup, like you said.
Yeah.
Difference for Luers this year is they don't have Catherine Kanapke to try to stop her inside. They've done some good things inside. Lydia Reinbold has started playing in the post more. Kennedy Glenn has been playing very well, and a parent, a freshman. So they're going to throw a lot of different things at Rashea Kyle. I think it's going to be a fun game to see what they have for her. But I think overall, Marion just kind of has that experience, that pedigree. Their coach has a championship pedigree, Lawrence Jordan. They know what to do in these situations.
So if I'm hearing you right, you've got Norwell, Marion
I do.
in the championship, and the winner is?
I'm going to take Norwell.
All right, so we move on to Class 4A now, and Sectional 5 will take place up at DeKalb. Carroll, of course, the defending sectional champs. They draw Snyder in round 1, and a couple of weeks ago, you would have said, oh, Carroll Snyder, that's probably a snooze fest. But all of a sudden, Snyder has wins over Belmont and Concordia, an impressive win against Concordia. Handled them pretty easily. So we'll start with that matchup, Carroll Snyder. What have the Lady Panthers done better lately that's allowed them to all of a sudden make this thing kind of interesting?
I think they are all just getting comfortable in their roles. You know, we saw earlier in the season, DeLasia Davis, and has been all season, is kind of the point. She's the one responsible for carrying a heavy load. Nyasia Hardy, Peyton Gorman have stepped up huge lately. It's a fun matchup because they're playing 2 games in a row against each other. Carroll's coming off a big win over Southside, too. So they're also coming off a huge win. I think it's going to be a really fun game. It's interesting because how much do you show the first time you play each other?
Right.
Knowing you have to play each other in sectionals. And in that sectional, there is a good chance that the winner of that sectional is your sectional champion. That winner of that game is your sectional champion.
Our final stop comes at Homestead, and the Spartans obviously draw Wayne in round 1, and Southside, you would assume, would be able to get to the sectional championship with Huntington North and Muncie Central on their side of the bracket. So what does Southside have to do in a sectional championship game to have a chance to beat Homestead at Homestead?
Well, both times they played Homestead in the holiday tournament and the regular season, their first half was fantastic. They played a great first half. So you have 2 tricks. One, be able to do that for a third time. Obviously, Rod Parker is going to change up his game plan so that doesn't happen. But if you are able to, you have to have the halftime speech of a lifetime if you're Juanita Goodwill, because both times, the third quarter, Homestead just took those games over. So you have to be able to start strong, but you have to be able to maintain that throughout. And that's been Southside's difficulty with Homestead and difficulty in games they've lost. They lost a close game to Belmont, where they played really strong in the first half, couldn't close out. So that's really got to be their key, close out games. Homestead knows how to close out games. You have to match them kind of tick for tack.
Dan, tell the people where they can read all your hard work and coverage of the high school basketball in the area.
And you can check it out on OutsideTheHuddle.net. Started off up in September, and it's covering high school basketball and football, so that's where I'm at now.
Dan, appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
Great breakdown, and that'll do it with myself and Dan Vance. We'll have much more coming up in the locker room right after this break.